Squamish Poacher. Step 1.
Here we're going to use a turn down eye salmon hook and some shell pink or orange 6/0 tying thread. Want to coat the body with it. It's important to have a turn down eye for this fly.
Step 2.
And for the tail, we're going to use a bit of orange calf tail. Squirrel tail or polar bear will work just fine. We want it to be quite sparse. And the tail should be close to the length of the hook shank. You can see how sparse it is there.
Antennas, isn't it?
It's going to be the antenna, exactly.
Step 3.
And here, for the shellback, we're going to use some orange edge bright. You can use surveyor's tape or edge bright. The original flies with surveyor's tape. This just adds to the sparkle of the fly. You want something about anywhere from 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch, depending on the size of the hook you're using. What I'm going to do is cut this to a point. Tie that in, just slightly extending over the back of the tail. Kind of have that wrap around the hook a bit. Best you can to try and keep it straight. And now fold it backwards there just to get it out of the way.
Step 4.
Now what we're going to do is melt on a couple eyes using some monofilament and some small beads. Just by doing that, they should stick to the melting mono.
Step 5.
This is some chenille. We're going to add the chenille on now, which is some shell pink chenille. In a thicker chenille, probably a large for this fly.
Step 6.
Now we've got a set of prepared eyes. You're going to stick out about 1/8 of an inch of either side of the fly. Figure eight them in probably about 1/4 of the way down the hook from the tail. You can see there. Black or green beads will work fine.
Step 7.
Here we're just going to prepare a large webby saddle hackle to be tied in after we wrap our chenille. Going to work the chenille forward. We're trying to create a bit of a bulkier section in this portion of the fly, so keep the wraps quite close together or maybe even overlapping. Weave through the fibers of the chenille to get right down to the core and trim that off here. Now we're going to tie in that saddle, and we're going to tie it in from the butt end, not the tip this time. Make sure it's got the top of the feather pointing up or the shiny side pointing up.
Step 8.
Here we're going to add in another piece of chenille, making sure we just tie on the core, not the fibers. Here we're going to wind the wraps a little bit further apart in order to keep it skinny. Tie that off at the head of the fly, weaving through the fibers.
You go right to the eye with that?
Pretty close. Just enough room for a small head.
Step 9.
And here we're going to take and we're going to wrap that hackle forward. These are going to be the legs. Just a couple turns there, and then work our way back and tie off at the head, which really on this shrimp is the tail, but it swims backwards. Now take and trim all those top fibers off, because we're going to pull the shell back over. Now those long ones that we first wrapped are the only ones we really want to have the full length of the hackle left. These other hackles we're going to trim off. So they're left about 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch sticking out still, untrimmed. You can see that distance we're trying to leave. And there it is. Pull those down a bit so they kind of ride underneath the fly.
Step 10.
Now what we're going to do is pull this piece of edge bright directly over the back, kind of fold it on either side of the fly, and tie it down. And now we're going to work our way forward in segments. Like that. Put one more in there. Take and trim that off. A little bit of a round shape.
Step 11.
Now we're going to come in with the whip finish.
Step 12.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to glue this thread that we've segmented the body with. And we're using Zappa Gap head cement works just as well. And there you have it. Squamish Poacher.